thing. So there's Pluto Misfits open ceiling, and they're sitting at a 0.41 ETH floor, right? And then here is Wild Pass, and they're sitting at a 0.44 ETH floor. So you can see that, hey, there's some interesting buy pressure, some decent volume here, and there's interest in a Polygon potential play. But also, when you look at both of these, what can you see? They're lower volumes, right? You're looking at a 450 ETH in total volume on the Wild Pass, and you're looking at less than 400 ETH on Misfits as well. So it's a slightly different product experience, right? It's not going to be incredibly scalable, incredibly sustainable in this kind of way because there's less volume there on traders, right? So that's kind of the thing that you want to kind of keep a really close eye on for is how are these things going to sustain and kind of build into the open market. So outside of that, I think it would have been really much more compelling if we were able to hear a lot more about the Web3 vision. I think they're keeping a lot of it secret. I think it's the wrong design, right? They should be putting out all their ammunition here right now and making this one of the biggest, loudest events possible. Honestly, if I'm Farcana, I'm beating my chest everywhere saying we're going to be the biggest thing on fucking Polygon, right? Like, I think that's kind of the important thing here, right? Is like they should be setting up that expectation. And to be very honest, I don't know if Farcana is doing enough on that right now. They're probably not as well known as, projects like Overworld. They're not as well known as even projects like Poglin, right? That just recently minted, or Cuckoo as well. So I think this is kind of the element, right? Is like, is Farcana ready to really take that attention and rally around them? And this is why you do need like a charismatic like founder or leader to be able to communicate as well. Don't get me wrong, we got a lot of the questions answered, which I do appreciate from the two team members that joined, but it wasn't like a rallying cry, right? I think that's kind of the important thing is that a lot of Web3 is story driven, right? It's about the belief and conviction on the leader as well. And I really want to see that a lot more. I want to see like we're going to take over this market. I want language like that, right? Because you do need to have that type of conviction, right? Like love him or hate him, the one thing I do love about people like Frank or even Gabe, right, is these two have such huge conviction on what they're doing. Even if there's ever a stumble, the next thing they follow out with relatively quickly is we're going to destroy everyone, right? We're going to get to the next level. We're going to build this out. So I think that's what I really want to see a lot more from for a project like these guys. They could easily be getting a way larger audience, way larger attention if they were marketing this, I think, a little bit more aggressively. But again, it's really well structured. I mean, I want a free mint 777 supply of a venture backed team. Again, you're looking at like a 700 tradable float based off the team allocation. If these guys generally get it right, it could be pretty intriguing. But this is the other thing that ends up happening. We have gotten their largest allocation, but again, that's like only 2025 spots, right? Like that's the challenge here is then are you going to be able to get enough communities to join when you're giving such small supplies? Are you anchoring enough people to bring in that buy pressure on that 777? That's kind of what we want to see. But dude, definitely go check out the Farcana trailers and teams. They have a lot of cool stuff. They do have a lot of professional players that they're signing. There are elements that could be really interesting as well. But the challenge essentially is going to be does it translate for a Polygon play? Right? If this was ETH, oh my God, this thing runs. Like the fact that this Genesis Pass isn't on ETH is such a miss, in my opinion, right? Just because you'd get buying power. That's what users want. The good thing is, I don't think it removes them all from the Polygon side. But again, if you go look at the Polygon stuff, it is actually really impressive on what the game and art and playable looks like. I mean, again, building an experience like Overwatch is a very hard thing to do. So again, there's a lot of balancing and a lot of like other design that needs to come up. But in the long run, right, what's really compelling here is that they do have the AAA engine and the AAA systems to do it. So a lot of good variables here. I think this has a lot of good upside. I think the real question is how long do you want to hold this, and how do you kind of align to their token generation event, right? And again, that's where we should be hearing a lot more about incentives, right? If Farcana is really doing this, Farcana should be like yelling out to everyone, yo, the only way to get the highest amount of tokens, right, is to fucking own these chests. These chests will triple your token allocation or something like that. Like, again, I'm just making up stuff. They did not say any of this language, but that's the language they need. They need a way to create a very clear understanding of why a speculator or collector or trader would want to take and own their assets compared to the other vast opportunity cost in this market. And there's a lot of opportunity cost, right? If you're minting this or buying this on secondary, right, it's you usually choosing, do I do this? Do I do overworld? Do I do, project A, project B, project C? Where will you kind of fall into that, right? And I think that's the other thing that's going to be the struggle here is their vesting systems, are their staking systems. And we really didn't hear much of that language from them here as well. And I think that's kind of the other problem that we run into in this market, is that very few people really understand the requirements needed leading into a hype mint. And this is kind of the other reason why it's important to hear this, because you're going to see a founder later today do the exact opposite. And I think that's in Jeremy. Jeremy is going to probably speak the most degen language you possibly can. And he's going to tell you, you own this asset because it gets you potentially tokens, and the tokens are going to be very valuable as well. Right. Like, and I think what you're going to see is this spectrum of builder narrative, because in the end, that's actually what you're betting on. Like, one of the things we tell all of our partners is you should always bring a founder on the show. You're only shooting yourself. Like, even today, you saw Farcana brought in the growth guy first, and he was honestly struggling with a lot of questions. And it's fine. We're asking him hard questions. This is supposed to be a founder to founder level conversation. Then they brought in the second guy, and he's still a C-level guy, but he's not really a founder, so we weren't able to get to the depth and the core of a lot of this stuff that would be the vision of the company. And I think that's what I wish I would have heard just a little bit more from the Farcana team as well. So, guys, with that, we're going to set up some auctions here shortly. They're going to start probably in a few hours. We're just setting up some stuff on our end. These are going to be relatively fast auctions as well. They're really small amount of spots. Again, a large majority of these will be going to diamond users, recognizing, right, when we have small allocations, we want to create a nice weighted distribution. There still will be opportunity for the open market here as well. But again, this is kind of where these larger projects are going to go. The largest projects are really going to be prioritizing whales and whale aggregators in this market here as well. So you definitely want to spend some time here too to be able to kind of unlock and kind of see the different product experiences that are coming. So again, this market is about no sleep, right? You want to recognize shit's going to be coming live at any moment, and new opportunity could unlock. Tribes in conversations with 30 to 40 different people at the moment right now. Any day a new opportunity can pop up, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to stay active. Like, literally, right? I woke up at 3 a.m. for a 1 hour call and then went back to sleep just for you guys. Very little value for me to be able to do it. Lots of value to our community as well. And that's kind of how we're thinking about this, right? Is that we're not sleeping either, right? And that's what bulls offer you. The opportunity cost is here really high. And again, we're not in a bull run. We're in like this weird bull wave, right? And it could have been way bigger, right? Ordinals could be right now on a huge wave, but instead, we've had some struggles with OCM and node monkeys, and I guess maybe the most bullish thing about Ordinals is selling a bunch of shit on Sotheby's, but at the same time, it's also sad because it means that fucking none of us are getting Bitcoin shrooms unless we're putting out like 3 to 4 BTC each, right? Which is kind of like really sad. But at the same time, what you're recognizing see this market kind of evolve is that there's still profit, there's still wins, there's still larger opportunities. And that's going to be the other thing is like, where do you want to accumulate and where do you want to spend your time? Right? Again, your allocators of your time and capital matter here a lot. And this is kind of where, in this play to farm kind of journey that we're in, you want to choose the right couple tokens that you think may be worth farming. You should spend your time on product experiences like that if you have the ability to spend that time. Some of you might not. Some of you might be normal human beings that decide to actually enjoy the holidays as normal adults should be. But if you're an abnormal adult here and you want to fucking grind this shit, there's a bunch of opportunities over the next few weeks. Find the right ones. Find the ones that align with you. And then hopefully from there, you're going to get a lot of big upside here too. Guys, as we kind of wrap up, a couple small things that I would appreciate if you're here, want to kind of support the community and us getting greater and greater allocations. First is, feel free to enter and retweet. Hold on one sec. This event where we're kind of sharing about Overworld Mint here later today. If you guys want to also set a reminder for that, that would be great as well. But again, increase our audience. Like that's the one thing I want to let you guys know. The more that you increase our audience and reach, the more allocations we keep getting, right? Which is the whole power of this. And like, here's the hilarious thing. Our reach is so strong and we don't even optimize anything. Like we literally just put out the post about Farcana like 7 hours ago when we could have put it like a week ago and we probably would have gotten 20% more users. And we know that we're going to improve a lot of these processes here shortly too. But the brilliant thing is we have one of the most live communities out there, right? Which is pretty nice. That's going to be pretty meaningful as well too for all of our kind of projects that are kind of scaling up. So a lot of cool stuff here. Lemon Boys, are you opposed to adding a retweet like requirement to raffles similar to AlphaBot? We do that for some of the pre-mint raffles, but we've tried to keep most of the stuff organic. Like one of the things is I actually hate using these raffles, even though they're incredibly effective in regard to the vanity metrics. They actually don't really improve our engagement metrics at the moment right now. So, like, what is my biggest challenge is that a lot of teams want us to add an alpha bot or a pre-mint to it. They're actually asking us to do that because they want to push up their vanity metrics here. So sometimes we do that with some of the pre-mint stuff, but it's usually not our preference at the moment right now, mainly because those users almost reach no real listeners. That's at least what we've seen historically. But probably something that we'll test out a little bit more with our product experiences. I mean, I think the biggest thing that we really want the market to understand is that there is a real listen to earn, engage to earn component here. And a lot of you guys know that really well if you've been here within Tribe. But what we do need to be better at is letting other people understand how to engage, make it a lot easier to use this system. And you're going to see that. We're going to have a whole new system being built around loadout, right? That could be really interesting to be able to make it easier for everyone to be onboarded into this experience, right? While all of you who still have souls and all the other advantages in our ecosystem will continue to compound. Yeah, Lemon Boy, you're exactly right. Like, we could absolutely like add a retweet, and it could be something, yeah, exactly for allocation percentages and stuff. There's definitely stuff there. To be very honest, we just haven't over optimized for it, mainly because we keep getting top collab structures. What we do want to now move towards, and this is where we're probably getting a little bit more into the alpha of what's coming next, it's essentially the opportunity for Tribe to kind of mature into loadout where we start becoming the primary publisher of these projects. Like, to be very honest, like, okay, I'm gonna keep it between us, right? When I say us, there's almost 400 of you here, right? The biggest thing that I'd really kind of note here is that Farcana should have launched through us. Like Farcana should have had us hype them up completely through and get them their top of funnel here as well, right? And really make sure people realize this is going to be the biggest polygon product and experience long term, right? It would have been a way better way of getting their market and attention to the right degen holders. Because what do they really need? Farcana should only be focusing on one thing: get 300 whales to hold two of these assets. That's really all they should be doing. And that's very possible in this market. And if you really wanted to break it down, it's 100 whole whales own two, and then another 100 whales own three or more. That's kind of what they want, right? Or four or more, right? And if you do that correctly, you could absolutely get a knockout hit here of getting the right holding pressure on that asset. I actually think it was a bad thing that they mentioned there's another mint. I know it's going to be a smaller mint, but I'm like, why is there a mint on top of another mint? Build them into the same mint. There shouldn't be two separate catalysts here. But again, we're going to go learn, we're going to go understand, we're going to go see. But a lot of these projects would really gain a lot of value in our coaching and our alignment, and more importantly, the strategy as we go out into the market here as well. So again, really kind of keep an eye out on where all these opportunities will scale up. And more importantly, we at Tribe are going to be better at bringing these opportunities to you as well. And this is just bear market. I'm sorry, this is just this bull wave market. So we're just trying to get as much allocation whenever we can get it, because it means that it's just going to create more upside here as well. And that's what we're really trying to scale out as we kind of build this as a sustainable model. So, with that, I'm gonna let you guys go though. There's definitely a lot more things coming out. As a quick insights, right? In about 2.5 hours, we'll have gamified if you want to join for that. That's a little bit longer, but of course, I think has really great topics and great structure. I think separately behind that, it's a big thing will be the overworld AMA. We're gonna have like it's a more honest conversation. Like we don't need to more about overworld based off the mint. What we want to hear is more about the builder thesis and what's going to happen post this mint, right? This mint's essentially been structured up already. So we're going to have some fun founder to founder conversation. So I'm really excited to kind of learn and see what Jeremy has on tap as he goes into one of the most hyped events. And then he needs to now hype another event right behind that, which is the token event. I think it's going to be really interesting to hear that from another founder that's in the trenches too. So, guys, with that, as mentioned, you'll see some Farcana auctions come up later today. We'll be setting them up. They'll run for at least 12 or 24 hours. So you'll still have plenty of time. Just make sure we'll at everyone so you can see that here too. So stay tuned for that. Outside of that, we do have more allocations for a few other projects coming in, probably starting early next week. So again, the village market just going to keep staying aggressively hot. Lots of things are going to open up, and you never know what will happen. You're going to see a few things come into the village, including like bidding on items from our vault will start coming up. You can bid on some ethers. We'll even show you the image of the ether. You can choose the ones you want. We're gonna have a lot of fun things that are coming out, so it should be pretty exciting here as well. But with that all, like we're gonna keep kind of tapping in. Oh, they'll definitely be as short as the overworld raffle, guys. Like you have to realize most of these things are all going to be under 12 hours. That's what we just said to you guys. You got to listen. This is where you have to be active in this market here at this point. If you're not active, right, you're going to miss out on lots of opportunities. Lots of stuff is going to be coming in really, really quickly here. So, lots of stuff coming. All right, everyone. I'm going to let you all go. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll chat soon. But bye now.